So the Mad Rock volumes, I picked up last week. Mad Rock's relocating, and they were just selling everything. They come with a mounting plate, so you can just bolt them in, and then you bolt the mounting plate in, and then you put this on, you attach it, and that's good. These ones I actually bought locally too. I found out from the Sender employees that Sender One Santa Ana at least makes all their volumes in-house, because one of their setters just makes it all. I did run into some issues though, in that I couldn't find a stainless steel bolt long enough, so I actually had to DIY a bolt long enough. So this might not be the safest, but it is metal, so it's pretty strong. I basically needed a coupling nut, and then I would attach the regular bolt that was too short through it. And then I haven't tried, but you can probably use another bolt in the back. But what I did was get a threaded rod and then just cut it down. So if you need like a 2-foot bolt, I got you right here. My name's Mai. I've climbed for about 10 years. I started my senior year in high school just because I got a Groupon to what was Climax in Huntington Beach. And then from there I kind of just hopped around a bunch of different gyms. This is now the new gym, I suppose. I teach chemistry at community college and also tutor, so teaching for me is kind of the career. I'm not very good at visualizing climbs, so I'm more of a throw stuff on and see if it goes and see how hard it feels. So I'm hoping to set like a V3, maybe a V4 on a 30 degrees, and then I should be able to send it pretty comfortably, hopefully. And then after I send that, bring it down, so it's 45 degrees. And what I found is it gets about 2 V grades harder. These holds are kind of juggy, but still not that juggy. So I think it'll bump it up by 2 V grades. And I'm hoping I can repeat it on a harder angle. Murta climbing has been the cheapest I've found, and I've went through 5 different companies of climbing holds. So this one's like a transparent neon green. Oy. Yeah, sure, maybe I can heal that. I don't know, sometimes T-nuts get stuck on me, and what I've found is the hand tool works better to just force the way in. All right, let's see. Okay. All my holds are pretty similar, and I intentionally asked for that. Also, the bad thing is some of these are actually really hard, so I should check it out. Yeah, I've gone to tramway the most, just because I'm really bad with heat. The altitude makes it pretty cool. There's lots of trees, so lots of shade. But I don't go outdoors all that often. I climb mostly indoors. Outdoors is it's a big time commitment for me. Oh yeah, this is gonna be gross. All right, I think this gets bumped up to a 4 already, just because of this one move. No, I definitely agree with grades being subjective. It's just so many factors to climbing, like your height, flexibility, strengths, weaknesses, all of that kind of correlates. That's also kind of the beauty of climbing. There's kind of always a way around it. Even in just this area right now, Orange County, with the however many local gyms we have, there's a big variation in setting style and setting grades. For most people, I would say they always find outdoors harder, and there are the rare few who do better outdoors than indoors. I definitely excel indoors. I love burly, like big moves. I like slopers. Even though my hands aren't that big or anything, slopers just work. I suck at dynos for whatever reason. I can kind of do them, but it's not really my preference. I tend to hate crimps. I have really greasy fingertips, and so like chalk doesn't really stay on. Like I had a handful of chalk earlier. I don't know what happened. Like some of the holds you get indoors are super cool, they're super great, but you're not gonna see anything like that outdoors. And just some of the movements you do indoors, you're not gonna do outdoors, but that's kind of the fun of it. You're climbing indoors, it's a whole different style of climbing, and then outdoors is a whole different style of climbing. Okay, I'm running out of good holds already. This is bad. Okay, can I reach that? We'll find out. Oh, okay, I can do that. Okay, this is not a V4. So my setting plan's pretty much always to see where I can reach and what hold or what move I want to do to get there. these holds, even though they're advertised as mini jugs, they're so hard. They're so shallow, you can't like really get your fingertips in there. So it feels like an edge where I only have pressure right here, nothing is going inside, and it hurts. I even told the guy that makes the holds, I was like, dude, why'd you call these jugs? They're like my hardest holds. I've always been one to just like do it and then learn from it or see if I like it. And that's literally how I got into climbing. I don't have any official route setting experience. I never worked in a gym. I also know a lot of people like don't enjoy setting. It's just like too brainy and it gets boring and it's hard. But for me, I enjoyed it. So it was really fun for me to like do trial and error. I ended up realizing I had a lot of pairs of holds. Not perfect, but I just kind of threw them on. And then I actually really enjoyed the symmetry. When I first set up the symmetrical systems wall, I actually couldn't pinch my left side some of the moves for some reason, even though I was like easily sticking with my right side. It's helped me identify some weaknesses I had on my left side. Like pinch strength was one and lock off strength was definitely weaker. But I would have never even picked up on that until I had this symmetrical wall. And people who come over, they're kind of realizing that too. They're like, oh, my left side sucks, or I can't get as high with the left heel. 45 is always a really hard angle. And even at 30 degrees, because I have such a large variety of holds now, I can find pretty complicated climbs and pretty difficult climbs. This way. All these holds are so bad. Huh. So this power drill is really cheap. All right. Yeah, there's no way I'm doing this at 45. All right. I am actually gonna warm up now. Depending how much of a warm-up I want to do, I always try and do like a diagonal, just create some space, and then I'll do a full circle around the world. But we can start with the around the world today. I thought about buying a wall, making a wall with gyms closing, but I was like, I don't have the tools, nor money, nor time for this. I saw like this really cheap one pop up on Facebook, and before I even knew where I would put it, I told the guy, hey, I'm gonna buy it, just let me figure out where I can put it. Originally, this wall was indoors in his living room. I've like increased the stability of it, fixed the kicker, and just done a lot of other revisions to it that made it a lot better. One of my priorities in the home wall was that I wanted the angle variable. The idea there is if you can change the angle, you automatically get more climbs and you can ramp up the difficulty. And it's actually worked really well. It's a little bit annoying because it takes time and it takes a lot more space, but you do get a lot more training out of it. So that was one of the first adjustments I made. Probably the most costly was I had to replace all the bolts because since it was indoors before, he can use, I think, like zinc bolts and they'd be fine indoors. But pretty much after I had the wall for like a month, half of them were rusted already. I've actually decided to just cut my gym membership because of the home wall, mainly because of the convenience of it. It's going out to that. I'll give it a shot. Well, I would say it's a 4, which probably means it's a 5. I'm pulling pretty hard. I'm like throwing for a hold. I could rotate this a little bit or move this out of the way because what's happening right now, my leg is coming out at this angle and it's really hard to sit in on this heel. Oh yeah, that's not a V4. Okay. Say it's like a V5 now. So I went from a V3, V4 to a V5 already. But I knew that move was probably the hardest. I think the rest is easier. So if I can stick that, I'd be pretty happy with the climb still. I don't know if it's gonna go at 45. That's what I'm scared of. I think this one, since it's newer and stiffer, it sticks on my heel a little bit better. And I'm doing a pretty heinous heel hook right now. It kept popping off with the other shoes. And here's like another time lapse. Shoe going on. So what MyClimbs is, the name itself doesn't really have any significance other than the fact that my name is My and I'm climbing. So I wanted to create something on Twitch. I wanted to stream my climbing sessions. For most people, that would probably be really boring because you're just literally watching someone climb. And climbing itself is pretty boring because you're probably climbing for like a 1/10 of the time you're there. I wanted to be able to have people create problems real time for me. And so I used an app called Eat, Spray, Love for that. It's also the app I use for my spray wall. So on that app, you can assign topography and create problems and just get stored on the cloud. They can then give me a climb. I can look at it. I can then annotate it on my screen and show like, okay, here's the wall. These two will be my start hold. It's color coded. Colors mean different things, but then here are the next couple holds, and there's your finish hold. It's a cool way because viewers can actually see what I'm trying to climb. Because on spray wall, it's pretty much hard to tell unless you know the exact problem. But they can also create problems for me and get like real-time feedback on it. Someone wanted me to do a mantle, and I tried it on the stream, and he saw me get it, but then we both realized that hold was actually too close. So we're like, let's scrap that, let's try this next further hold instead, and then that worked. So it's pretty cool for him because he was like stuck during quarantine. He's still quarantining very seriously, so he's not climbing at all. And he's creating problems for me to do, and he's really enjoying that aspect, which is really cool because then you're testing your ability to route set at different levels. Because for me, I'm always gonna try setting at like my project level, just because it's more fun and it's challenging for me. I have a lot of dumb ideas, and then I kind of just go for my dumb ideas, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. For Twitch and Instagram, I went with MyClimbs, just MyClimbs, super straightforward. I stream Tuesday, Thursdays, 5 to 7 p.m. at the moment. So then for Eat, Spray, Love, you can find my climbing wall, which is Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace is just the house name of where I live. I have 2 different angles set on there, 30 degrees and 45 degrees. So go on there, make me some climbs, and normally when I do a climb on the app, I'll like announce it on the Twitch stream, I'll annotate on the screen, I'll say who said it. God, these holds hurt so bad. Like, this is really sensitive to touch. But I wanted something easier, so hopefully it's still possible when I try it at 45. I think lowering this would make the drop knee easier to hit. I made a few modifications, but honestly I haven't made too much. I had to swap out this foot. It was a good foot before, but it only worked if I stepped on it one direction. And I need to use this foothold in 2 different ways. And then that one, I didn't have to switch, but I wanted to make the climb a little bit easier. So I actually moved it down first because before I was drop kneeing kind of high. So it's really cool and comfortable. I think climbing and just outdoor nature, there's a lot of organizations and people trying to help out in their own ways and forms right now. And I also do want to head in that direction eventually. Depending where MyClimbs goes, how popular it gets, what the outreach is. Like I would love to do like charity streams. Say like, okay, today I'm streaming for this charity. Any money I make, I'm just gonna give 100% of the proceeds to that. I've had a really big mindset shift towards the idea of equity. I've never camped in my life until I was 26 years old. That's a very different experience. I feel like a lot of people who maybe did Boy Scouts when they were younger, and it's just a very different kind of lifestyle. This one charity under the Dragon Kim Foundation, they did pretty much the same idea as Kai and his Climbing for All program.
We're talking about Kai Leitner?
Yeah, Kai Leitner. So he has like this outreach where he just makes climbing accessible for people who wouldn't normally like be able to afford a climbing gym or even think to try out a climbing gym. So I would probably try catering it towards those type of charities and programs. I was really fortunate and also stupid that I would bike to a climbing gym during high school. I think I was like biking 6 miles just to go climb. I was fortunate enough to have a bike, have a gym that close, have streets that were safe enough to bike that distance. So it's a lot of factors that even though I'm not as fortunate as some others, I was still fortunate and able to start climbing and get where I am now with climbing. So I would love to donate to that type of charity that tries to make climbing more equitable. So much. Oh, thank God. Okay, I went. Yeah, those are so raw. Why I got into teaching, I feel like if I wanted to pursue a career in like pharmacy, medical, become a doctor, there are a lot of ways you can impact the world positively. I can have exponential impact because I could, you know, teach 30 kids, 30 kids, 30 kids, 30 kids. If I teach them well, help them become better in their lives, their careers, then they become doctors, pharmacists, engineers, then they help the world. I don't have a direct impact on the world, but I feel like doing this teaching route, I get this exponential impact.